All right, so we've all heard of 410, 20 gauge, and 12 gauge. But which one's the best? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stack these guys up and see which one comes out as the champ. This is Shotgun Showdown. All right, first up is going to be our 410. So this is a single shot 410 Rossi. Pretty little badass 410. I mean, yeah, it's single shot, so that does suck, but does it? I don't know, kind of makes it a little cool. Next up is our 20 gauge. This is a Remington 20 gauge. It's pump action, which is super sick because this is my first pump action. And then we have my Beretta A300 12 gauge. Pretty sexy. To keep it fair across the board, we are going to be using slugs. So 410 slugs, 20 gauge slugs, 12 gauge slugs. You get it, we're using slugs. Okay, so first up, we're going to be testing recoil. First one up is gonna be the 410. Oh, dude, that's so sick. All right, so in the recoil test, I mean, this thing is like zero recoil, absolutely none. It felt super smooth, super nice. I could definitely, if it wasn't a single shot, I could definitely get the next shot on target pretty quick. So as far as recoil goes, I'm gonna give this guy an 8 out of 10. All right, next up is the 20 gauge. Oh, dude, that's so sick. Compared to the 410, definitely more recoil, but not as much as I expected. I expected to be maybe like 5 out of 10, something like that. But no, it was really not that bad. I'm probably gonna go like 6 and a half, 6.5. All right, last but not least is 12 gauge for the recoil test. Not looking forward to this. So recoil 12 gauge, definitely more than the 410, definitely more than the 20 gauge, which obviously I think we all expected that. But same, not as bad as you would think, right? I'm gonna go 5. I'm gonna go 5. Next up, we're going to talk about size. So this is the size of a 410 slug, right? Quite small. It's probably got the same diameter of like a McDonald's straw. That's kind of what it reminds me of, which correlates to the low recoil, right? Usage. So as far as usage goes, most people use a 410 for small game hunting. You can use it for deer. I've done it. I mean, my very first deer I ever shot was with a 410 and quite successfully, I might add. So yeah, you can, but I feel like most people use a 410 for small game hunting, target practice, or just teaching somebody younger how to handle a shotgun, right? Because it's very approachable. It's small, it's lightweight, and it's easy to use. I don't see many people using it for home defense. I mean, if you use a 410 for home defense, I think that's a little silly. I mean, you could, right? I just feel like nobody does that because there's a lot better options. Foreshadowing. Okay, next up is going to be the 20 gauge. So compared to the 410, definitely a lot heavier, definitely a lot more sturdy. The 410 almost feels like I could like snap it over my leg, you know what I mean? I mean, I probably couldn't, but I'm just saying that's what it feels like. 20 gauge, a lot more sturdy, a lot heavier. because it needs to be, because it shoots quite a bigger round, as you can see, compared to the 410. That yellow one there is the 20 gauge. So definitely fatter, definitely a bigger slug. Usage, not much small game. You would probably destroy whatever you're going to shoot with it. But deer, oh yeah. Target practicing, hell yeah. Home defense, yeah, I've seen it. Not as common as 12 gauge, but I definitely have seen people use these for home defense. This is, in my opinion, it's very intermediate, right? You don't want something small, but you don't want something as big as a 12 gauge. This is like your Goldilocks, right? Not too big, not too small. It's kind of like a perfect middle. And the size, I mean, this is a little smaller than most 20 gauges, but it's still quite close to them. It's pretty small. So it fits, especially me, it fits quite well in my hands compared to my 12 gauge, honestly. So it definitely feels a lot nicer in my hands. All right, last one is going to be the 12 gauge. So size, we got, so comparing sizes, we have, let me line them up for you. We have 410, 20, and 12. So just like the last two, 12 is definitely bigger than the rest of the two. And the gun itself is definitely heavier because it needs to handle a bigger bullet and a lot more powder, right? Now, this is a lighter shotgun compared to other 12 gauge out there because this is more of a tactical shotgun, right? So it's going to have a bit of a shorter barrel, as you can see, but still just a little bit taller than the 20 gauge, right? But like I said, this is a tactical shotgun, so it's not gonna be as long, so you can't really put that into the comparison. Usage, home defense, 100%. Hunting, 200%. I think this is the most popular shotgun to hunt with. Not this exact shotgun, but the gauge, right, 12 gauge. So 12 gauge is definitely the most popular hunting round. And home defense, 100%. I know a lot of people that use a 12 gauge for home defense. All right, next up we're gonna test power. And what other way to do that than pineapples? All right, first up, as usual, is going to be the 410. Dude, it don't get no better than that. All right, 410 at pineapple. All right, so here's our pineapple. Actually did a lot more damage than I thought it would, to be honest. I don't know if that's our entry or exit. Couldn't really tell you. Exit's kind of all over. Definitely blew it up. Crazy. Next up is our 20 gauge at pineapple. Oh my God. All right, wow, that was crazy. Okay, so as far as pieces go, this is the biggest piece we got. Everything else has been, there's a little bit over there, there's a little bit everywhere, but this is the biggest piece I could find. So definitely a lot more destruction than the 410. Taste-wise, pretty much the same. All right, next up is 12 gauge slug at our pineapple. Here we go. Okay, so that was definitely more violent. It shot things much faster out of the way. Like, it probably won't pick up on camera, but it definitely shot like pineapple shrapnel a lot harder and faster than the 20 gauge and the 410. But I do have a bigger chunk here of the bottom. Now, this could be user error. I may have aimed just a little bit too high, but I mean, it's definitely looks like I hit it right in the middle. Oh, that tastes better. Oddly enough, that tastes better. If I don't upload next week, it's probably because I died of lead poisoning. So just letting you guys know. All right, we tested recoil, we tested usage, and we tested power. Now, first up at the bottom of the list is going to be the 410. I know everybody saw it coming. The 410 definitely has its place in the gun community. Okay, guys, so don't go throwing out your 410s, all right? I will always have a 410. 410s are absolutely awesome for the right thing, right? Now, all three of these shotguns can be used for hunting. They're all a perfectly good option for hunting, right? But when you start to add in the other categories like home defense, I think this is where the 410 really falls short, and that nobody would really use this for home defense because the other two are just way better options, right? So that's what's going to make the 410 in last place. Okay, before we get to the winner, let's talk about usage. So 20 gauge and 12 gauge, in my opinion, are dead even when it comes to usage. You may disagree with me on that, but when you stack up home defense, when you stack up hunting, when you stack up just plain old target shooting, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, they're dead even in my book. I mean, it's a toss-up for me. It really is. I know most people have their preferences. I personally don't. I would take a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge any day for either hunting, home defense, or target shooting. Probably even the 20 gauge more for target shooting, just because it's more fun. It really is, because there's less recoil, right? It doesn't hurt at the end of the day. At the end of the day, your shoulder's not dying. So in that category, I think they're gonna tie. I do. I really think they're gonna tie. Recoil, as I just said, 12 gauge is definitely going to lose that battle. 12 gauge is horrible for recoil. Not horrible, but you know what I mean. It's definitely way worse than 20 gauge. So 20 gauge is going to win on the recoil. Now we get down to sheer power. So 12 gauge takes the cake. 12 gauge is definitely more powerful than 20 gauge, obviously, right? I mean, that's pretty much common sense. Everybody's going to know that. So when you stack up usage, recoil, and power, we're even here, ladies and gentlemen. We are even. So, as much as I hate to say it, we're tied. We are tied for the winner. As much as you hate to hear it, we're tied here. 20 gauge and 12 gauge, I think it comes down to preference. I really do. I think it comes down to, what do you care more about? If you care more about recoil, go with the 20. If you care more about sheer power, go with the 12. I think at the end of the day, it's preference. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. We compared the top 3 shotgun gauges in the world, the 3 most popular ones, and I thought it was pretty interesting. That was super cool. I've never compared them back to back like that. I've definitely shot 12 gauge, 20, and 410 all my life, but I've never compared them like that, stacked up against each other. So that was super fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't see my video last week, go check that out. It was the best moments of 2025. So that was super cool. It was super cool to edit too. So I had a lot of fun doing that. And what a good year. And first video of 2026. Got a lot of ideas, guys. Got a lot of cool stuff on the way, so make sure you stay up to date. Turn that bell on, turn the notifications on so you don't miss when I upload, and like and subscribe.